This is a good problem just to start off. It's a basic one, I argue, okay? So it tells you some key information right here that an orange is in the shape of a sphere. Boom, right away, okay? We know volume of a sphere is on our reference sheet, okay? And it tells us that the volume is 288 pi. So I could write volume of this orange is 288 pi. But I also should know from this piece of information that it's a sphere. So here's my orange. And okay, that's what a sphere looks like, right? And if you look at your reference sheet, it gives you the formula for a volume of a sphere. The volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed, where r is the radius. The radius is, again, the distance from this point to this one, right? Or any of, from the center to the edge of the sphere for anywhere. So this is a radius right here. This is r. And we should see that using this with this, we can answer this question, which is what is the radius? So I know that my volume, I know the volume of this orange is 288 pi is equal to 4/3 pi times r, I don't know, that's what I want, r cubed. So I need to solve this equation for r. I know everything else. The only thing that's missing here is r. So that means that if I have an equation with one thing missing, I can solve for that one thing. My first step is that I'm going to divide by pi everywhere. I'm going to divide this by pi, and I'm going to divide on this side by pi to get rid of pi, because pi divided by pi is 1. That makes it easy for me. And I should see this really as 4 times r cubed divided by 3. It's the same thing, because this is r over 1. Remember, stuff on the top, you want to think of it as just being on the top. And then stuff on the bottom is on the bottom. Now I have this, right? I could do 288, because that's all that's left, because pi divided by pi was 1, times 3. And I'll multiply by 3 on both sides, because then you should see that if I multiply by 3, I have 3 divided by 3, which is 1. And then to make this easy, I'm going to do this in one step. I want to get rid of this 4 as well, because I want to solve for r. So I'm going to first get r cubed by itself. So I divide by 4 on both sides. And then this cancels. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And all I'm left with now on that right-hand side is r cubed is equal to whatever value this is. Use your calculator if you don't want to sit here and do this out. You could do 288 times 3 divided by 4, and you're going to get 216. Now you have that you solved for r cubed. Your last task is to get r. You want to find r, not r cubed, but just the radius, just r. So the way you undo an exponent is you do the cube root of both sides. So you do the cube root, and what you get here is the cube root of r cubed is asking what times itself 3 times, because this is a 3 here, gives you r cubed the inside r. R times itself 3 times, r times r times r gives you that inside r cubed. So this is just r over here. Just know that they undo one another, right? If it were r to the n, then the nth root would be just r, okay? So in this case, I'm doing the cube root, and I have to do the cube root on this side. Now you could look on your calculator, and you could see that there's always a way to perform a cube root. So you could do the cube root in a certain way on your calculator, and I could teach you that way individually with your particular calculator. But there's always a way, and you just have to sit here and play with this. But also, you should think, what times itself 3 times gives you 216? And if you take your time, you don't even need the calculator. You can just see that it's going to be 6. And r equals 6. This is 6.